You're acting like a toddler, Rick. You are making an enemy out of me.
It's not what I intended.
Parker, man.
Yeah, I'm going out mining on my own. I've got an opportunity, and I'm going to take it.
Jeez.
The cast of Gold Rush are old associates all these years later with a lot of shared history together. However, from among the stars of the show, none have as long a history and friendship as Parker Schnabel and Rick Ness. So, when things got difficult for Rick Ness recently, he knew exactly who to turn to for help.
But it's not, it's not the answer for the season. I need something I can rely on. So I'm going to see Parker right now. I heard he just bought a whole nother mine. It's been a few years. I really don't know what to expect here.
None other than his old boss and good friend, gold mining wunderkind, Parker Schnabel. Team Ness is hard at work, but it becomes apparent that Rick requires more crew members if he wants to hit all of his goals for the season. No one else is coming in, adding a lot of pressure to Morgan Lauren, a new member of the team. Another issue that is adding to the pressure is the shabby state of the equipment. Morgan points out that the work would be completed much faster if they were able to bring in some newer equipment. While she concedes that the old rented loader does run and gets the task done, she hesitates to call it efficient or even fully functional. As she explains the issues with the loader, she reveals that it's missing its front cab. This means that she has been eating a ton of dirt, and the massive, powerful tires have been kicking up a storm of sand and dirt into her face the whole time. This issue sounds mostly humorous until one imagines the danger of consuming that much dirt, not to mention the damage caused to the loader by having a ton of dirt getting into the cab and the controls. As Rick and Morgan work, they make a greater dent in the pile of dirt. However, even with their speed and dedication, soon something goes wrong. Morgan exits her loader in concern and notices that something is very wrong with her vehicle. She quickly exits the loader and hurries over to the loader's side, observing that the machine is leaning over in a very precarious manner. After a quick look, she determines that the leaning is being caused by a flat tire. She pulls out her walkie-talkie and contacts Rick, informing him of her need to shut down the plant because of her loader's flat tire. Rick quickly goes over to the wash plant and stops all activity.
Rick brought down the 750 for me, and we flew the 330 up there to do tailings. As long as we can keep this gold rolling up to the plant, that's the only thing that matters.
This is to save money and energy from a machine that can cost him a ton of money if it is not actively separating gold from dirt at all times. Rick is upset and decides that he needs to do whatever it takes to remedy this problem. Finding a replacement loader or a new tire is his first thought. He drives away in his truck, musing over where he has an old loader stored for such an occasion. However, after some consideration, he decides that the loader he has is not going to be the answer to this current problem, since he needs something he can rely on, not to break down. This is where Rick explains that he heard his old boss, Parker Schnabel, just bought an entirely new mine and it came with a ton of equipment with it. The hope Rick has is that the equipment will have a spare motor somewhere that he can use. While he is hopeful that Parker will be able to solve his problem, he is nervous to speak to him as it has been a couple of years since they had any real conversation.
How you been, bud?
Good, how are you?
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you too. So you're back.
I'm back.
How are you feeling?
I feel great.
Good.
Yeah.
Rick doesn't know what to expect, but thinks that they'll be able to make a deal. Parker and Rick have a history as deep as any mining operation, having met when Parker hired Rick when he was 17 years old and just starting his career in the gold mining industry. At the time, Parker wasn't the big shot buying multiple million-dollar mines. He had just a small gold claim to his name. However, these early days are critical to the man he would become, and Rick was a crucial component to his success. Rick and Parker worked together and created a deep bond as they rose in experience and achievement those first few years. Rick Ness eventually became Parker's foreman, but not everything was smooth sailing. When their relationship started to get rocky, they said things to each other they couldn't take back. This was a huge turning point for Rick Ness, because he decided that what he really wanted was to strike out on his own. Rick informed Parker that he had received a great opportunity to be his own boss, and he was going to take it, quitting his position as foreman for Parker's crew. It was a difficult parting, and since then, they haven't spoken face to face until today. Rick expresses his excitement to see his old friend again and hopes that Parker will feel the same.
Can you believe that?
How much does that weigh?
That one is 1.54 ounces.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah. Wow.
There is also the issue of Rick's break from gold mining last year, which he is sure Parker already knows about. He wonders if those rumors will change the reception he gets from his old boss. Parker comes down from his loader and immediately makes a joke as he greets Rick. Rick picks up the joke and they share a big laugh, breaking the tension immediately. It feels as though no time has passed at all as they hug. Parker immediately asks how Rick is feeling now that he's back, showing his concern for his health. In a kind move, Parker tells him that he has always had faith that he would survive the hard times and come right back to the business when he was ready. Rick is vulnerable as he admits that he has struggled recently and that looking back, he thinks his best years were with Parker, as he was more productive back then. Parker admits that when he first started as a gold miner with his own claim, he had no idea what he was doing. They bond over how lost they had been at the beginning and how their golden years were spent together. Rick admits that he learned a lot from his time with Parker and that he feels like he's reclaiming some of that youthful energy they had back then, now that he is back and ready to work. Finally, after their sentimental reunion, Parker asks whether Rick has made his way over to catch up or if there is something he needs. Rick immediately admits that of course, he comes all this way because he needs something and prepares to ask for this big favor. Rick tells him that he needs a loader, and Parker immediately tells him that his team inherited a ton of equipment and guides him over to his truck to take a look at all the equipment. When Parker Schnabel bought the Dominion Creek claim, he also purchased everything that was on it. So any tools and machines left behind were included in the purchase.
Okay, sounds good.
We're gonna put Brennan on that end with the 750. I'm gonna keep chewing away down here with the 480, but I got a feeling he's gonna be catching on me pretty fast.
Parker admits that after buying it, he has not even inspected or cataloged everything that came with it. However, the purchase did include $2 million worth of equipment. Rick hops onto the loader on Dominion Creek and starts it up to test its functionality. The sound of the motor passes their quick inspection, and Rick tries to cut a deal right away for the use of the loader. Parker tells him that there will be no deal. Instead, he tells Rick that he hates talking about money, but he especially hates it when it comes to friends. He tells Rick that he can use it, no deal or money exchange is needed. He instead tells him that they can just work it out in the fall. He elaborates that if Rick hits the mother lode, then he will expect a few ounces of gold as rent, but otherwise they're all good. What Parker says is that if the loader helps him, he's happy to lend it. What he truly wants is for Rick to get back on his feet. This is a very humbling moment for Rick, as he realizes that Parker is a true friend to him, even after all their differences. Parker admits that it is a small gesture, but that he hopes it's better than denying him and not mending bridges out of pettiness. Rick is very thankful to him, and Parker suggests that he comes to pick up the loader when the roads clear up a bit. The difficulty of moving the loader may even necessitate bringing a trailer out to move it, but no one is willing to haul such heavy equipment at this time in the season. The problem of transporting the loader over to Rick's claim is overshadowed by the emotional reunion between the two old friends. When Parker is finally alone, he admits that he was surprised to see Rick again, since they have a lot of unspoken history between them. One thing that he is ruminating over is how Rick mentioned that he gave Parker his best years. To Parker, that sounds like crazy talk, because in his mind, Rick Ness has not even reached his best years in the gold mining industry yet. In Parker's eyes, Rick is still very young, only 42 years old. But he understands that perhaps mentally and emotionally the past few years,
we got to keep the ball rolling, so whatever we got to do, right?
Yeah. The reward there is hopefully 30 feet of pay underneath that, right? And good stuff.
have taken a heavy toll on his old friend. He wishes that things would get better for Rick, and that his small favor will be a step in that direction. Thank you so much for watching this video until the end. Make sure to like and subscribe, and don't forget to turn on notifications for the latest, most interesting Gold Rush content. Leave a comment down below and let us know what your favorite part was and what kind of content you'd like to see on the channel next.
Boring jobs that are needed to not only find gold specks, but also fill pockets with coins. Now let's take a look at some of Parker's thrilling finds. Parker, 27, says he mined nearly 7,000 ounces of gold worth $12.8 million with days left in his season. He advised putting as much gold in the box as quickly as possible and making as much money as possible to fund a second procedure next year. Prior to the Yukon winter freezing them out, Parker needed to collect nearly 350 ounces of gold to beat his record. Parker relied on factory manager Tyson and top technician and informant Mitch. He confirmed they spent more than last year. He had spent $5.4 million going to the bottom of Mud Mountain and hadn't broken even, but he was on a roll. If enough were there, Parker claimed he could win big. Parker noted that the remaining drilling was the best, therefore there remained optimism. Mitch and operator Damon Brown were ready to remove the last gold-rich pay dirt. Mitch stated they have to deliver the last road payment to Big Red and
what your favorite part was. If you would like to keep up with this kind of content, make sure to subscribe and turn notifications on.
Gold digging is known to be a good way to make money, but as miners get better and go deeper, they find things other than gold. Some of these things are as useless as metal bits, while others are as valuable as gold itself. Let's look into how Parker finds mammoth tusks while he's looking for cash. Parker Schnabel's strange find. Parker Schnabel is used to getting his hands dirty and getting down on the ground when he's looking for money. He began working at the family mine when he was a youngster in the first season. Beginning with the second season, the young man took over the family mines and has been one of the most famous gold miners ever since. Other mine bosses have a hard time, but Schnabel seems to have the Midas touch because his team gets thousands of ounces of gold every season, which is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. After 10 episodes on Gold Rush, Parker has saved up a dime wealth, which is thought to be around $10 million. He's not going to slow down anytime soon. However, the miner has found more than just gold in the fields. He told them about some other strange things he had seen on his trips. There is a lot of stuff buried here. There's a good chance that miners have found some strange things on their trips. Parker doesn't find gold, but he does find something that many archaeologists would love. In an interview with the Maelstrom, he talked about the strange thing he found while mining for gold and how it might be the most important thing he had that wasn't gold. It was interesting that he told them he had found a pair of well-preserved woolly mammoth teeth. These tusks are very well preserved because they are made of ivory and were buried in permafrost, which kept them safe from the cold weather. Some of them were found in perfect shape, even though woolly mammoths went extinct a very long time ago. Finding fossils of preserved bodies makes us think about what makes a thing. Alaska is a place where mammogram tusks are sometimes found. They have a lot of value and help an industry grow. Because these tusks are made of ivory, they can be very valuable if they are kept in good shape. In some cases, they can sell for more than $1 million each. Parker and his team on Gold Rush might not find anything more valuable than gold, but mammoth tusks are definitely among the most expensive things that have ever been found. To make a long story short, the mammoth tusks he found would be worth a lot of money, because people are willing to buy almost anything. But Schnabel says he won't sell the tusks, even though they are valuable and could be valuable. To sell those kinds of things, he would have to get a lot of different permits, which he doesn't want to do. He doesn't want to kill the tusks, instead, he wants to keep them. He thinks they're really cool and that they shouldn't be sold. And no one can blame him. He already makes a lot of money from the gold he finds, so it makes sense for him to keep the strange things he finds along the way. Even more so when he can happily say that he owns well-preserved mammoth tusks. So, if you ever go to Parker Schnabel's house, don't be shocked if you find some huge mammoth teeth waiting for you. The huge tusks are the cherry on top of Parker's successful job choice. He doesn't seem like he's going to stop working anytime soon, so we can say that more finds are on the way. As of now, it looks like the search for an unusual prize on Gold Rush is far from over. A famous gold miner on the show found something truly amazing. Another strange find on Gold Rush, Tony Beats found something very important at his new spot in Paradise Hills. Instead of finding gold like most people do, he found a tusk that had a special meaning for this part of Alaska. While exploring the site, he saw the tusk sticking out of the ground. With the help of his son Mike and their tools, they were able to dig up the bone, which Mike at first thought was a jawbone. Tony chose to have paleontologists look at it more closely. The remains of a woolly mammoth that was found earlier may be related to the tusks that were found on Gold Rush, according to experts. Since the Klondike Gold Rush more than 100 years ago, miners have kept finding these kinds of bones. One of the best things about the Yukon area is that it is known for finding animals from the Ice Age. Others had heard that Tony had found the bones of horses and zebras before, but this one made people think of the woolly mammoth. Gold Rush says that the baby mammogram is at least 30,000 years old, and the ground and ice in the area are thought to have kept the animals alive during the Ice Age. During the Gold Rush, people saw more strange things than just elephant tusks. Miners have seen things besides the god they were looking for. Parker saw something that blew his mind in particular. Meeting the welcome stranger face to face. Parker Schnabel almost passed out when he saw a copy of Welcome Stranger. It is the biggest gold nugget that has ever been found. We saw that he was half a world away from the Klondike Gold Rush Trail in Season 4, Episode 2 called Installment of Gold Rush Parker's Trail. He was looking for new experiences and chances. At the start of the show, Parker and his partner Fred Lewis were greeted by Tyler Mahoney, a fourth-generation Australian gold prospector. She opened her truck door and put a 2-foot-long golden boulder across the back seat. A story says that the welcome stranger was so big that it had to be broken in 3 on a hammer so that it could fit on a bank scale. The nugget would be worth about $4.7 million if it were sold today at the rate at which Hold is sold. The original welcome stranger was turned into gold bars a long time ago,